Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Marketplace Seller Courses. This is our first official Facebook Live webinar for our new series. We're going to be doing about weekly. If you're joining us on Zoom, that's our webinar platform, or Facebook Live, we just want to welcome you. I'm here today with my very special guest, Eric Koymans. He has over 15 years experience in the e-commerce, digital marketing, online marketing, lead generation space, and he's just a wealth of knowledge. Two fun facts about Eric. The first is that one of his first jobs, he had a $12 million ad budget and got it down to $2 million while increasing the lead generation for the company. Unbelievable what he was able to accomplish kind of out of the gate. And the second is, when we were freshmen, he ran a business from his college dorm room. And I think they actually called him one day and said, "What in the world are you doing?" I think they routed 75 calls to his dorm room that day. So Eric, thanks for joining us and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Shannon. Appreciate your time today.
So a little housekeeping just to give everybody an overview. You have a chat window if you're joining us on Zoom for Facebook Live. You can write comments in the underneath the video, and we will be able to get to those towards the end of the webinar. Again, what we're talking about today is diversification. And Eric, when we kind of went over this, it blew me away to just hear some of the things, just to get a sneak peek at what you're going to talk about. This is absolutely huge and essential, not only for Amazon sellers, but really anybody in the e-commerce space. It can be a make it or break it in a lot of ways. And so we'll get into that. But like I said, I just wanted to say thanks again for joining, and let's go ahead and dive in. So why don't you give us sort of an overview of what we're going to be talking about today, and then we'll start to dig a little deeper.
Yep, sounds good. So with that, as thank you for everybody for being here today. One thing I just wanted to kind of, as we get started, if you've taken Shannon's courses or selling on Amazon, hopefully you have all of your accounts set up good. You have your products are optimized. You understand how to effectively launch a product. And if not, that's something that I definitely recommend with Shannon's courses. But with that, what we're going to talk about today is kind of after you get everything perfect and everything in a good place, what do we do next? How do you kind of in the back of your head, you might be saying, hey, Amazon's doing great. But at any point, I could be shut off. We could have a customer service issue, could have a supplier issue. And there's just always that this little tension of, hey, am I really in control of my own fate when it comes to selling online? And so that's one of the big things that we're going to address today is 5 action steps that everybody can take that really just kind of gives a good overview and of what you can do to help diversify and really have true kind of online stable success. And so that's the goal, and excited to go over with everybody today.
Yeah. And for anybody who's either not able to join today or you're not able to stay the whole time, we're recording the entire thing. It will stay live on Facebook. It will also be available on the website afterwards. We'll have some downloads, and Eric's actually written up a more in-depth blog post to go with this. And so we'll send a follow-up email with a recap with all that information, contact information, so you can catch the full thing online. So
great. And that's the big goal today, is not to overwhelm you with too much information, but to kind of give a good overview, and then from there for you to be able to follow up with the guest posts and some of the other information with the different links and different things. So you don't have to write everything down. We'll provide everything you need and go from there. So, okay.
Great. Well, Eric, let's go ahead and get started. What's the first action step that sellers need to be aware of?
Well, with that, when it comes to diversification, the big thing is product diversification. Oftentimes, sellers have one category that they're strong in. If it were to be, for example, apparel or sports stuff or whatever the niche that they might be in, they have a very good, strong niche with that. However, as you know, with Amazon, it's a very competitive space, and if you have a good thing going, there'll be somebody else there eventually. And even if you are a manufacturer, there's other issues that come with the competition and kind of the race to the bottom. So it's always good and important to to diversify, but not just on a product in different categories inside of Amazon, but it's also when it comes to vendors. Black Friday's a crazy time, and nobody can estimate how good and how much things go viral and different things of that nature. And so, if you have a situation where, you have a customer service issue, or you have, suppliers not able to meet the fulfillment time, you could be shut off at any time. So that's really the goal. What we kind of like to recommend is to really try to not put all your eggs in one basket, but to have a diversified strategy in terms of products and vendors, but also not just also the times of the year. So it's in a sense that if you're big in the holiday time period and that's your craziest time period, well, what are you doing for the summertime period? What are you doing for the New Year's resolutioners? What are you doing for football season and different things of that nature? So you don't just have one big spike at the end of the year, but you have kind of a diversified strategy throughout the year. And then from there, if you were to have any issues with one supplier or not, it's not the end of the world, and you're able to weather those storms and also good successes as you sell more products and so on and so forth. So
and there's two stats that I have for that. The first one is, I was reading yesterday, 1,000 sellers join Amazon every single day.
Yep.
1,000 sellers a day. So if you're considering that you have competition, the answer is yes, you have competition in whatever space, and people are always looking for areas that have less competition. So that's one important thing. And the other one is, as far as getting your account shut down, I think the 2017 FeedVisor survey showed that was the number one concern for Amazon sellers, was getting suspended. And it's very real. You don't even have to do anything wrong per se. There was a customer with one of the clients that I worked with yesterday. One customer had a misunderstanding. They put negative seller feedback in, and Amazon suspended the account over one negative seller feedback based on the algorithm. And working to get that resolved and reinstated. But the fact of the matter is, you can basically be doing everything right and still face that very real challenge and concern. And what you're saying is, not only do you want to diversify outside of Amazon, but even with Amazon in different products and different categories, and throughout the year, you want to have a diversified strategy. So if your whole strategy revolves around one category or one or two products around Christmas time, and you have one thing happen with that, it could basically capsize the business.
Exactly. And the big thing when you're thinking about diversification, you don't want to just guess at it or say, hey, I think this one widget might be great. The best part is there's tools out there. One, of course, the Google Keyword Planner, but there's other paid tools like keyword.io, as well as Sonar tool from Selix. Those are two tools that will tell you how many people are searching for what on Amazon. And so those are things that, as well as other different marketplaces and channels. And so those are things that you don't want to just guess and say, hey, I think this is going to do great. You really want to kind of, go with a plan and to see, hey, this is really trending in the right direction. You can look at Google Trends and just really be able to understand, hey, am I making the right investment? And don't guess at it. There's enough knowledge out there to be able to say, hey, is this the one, is this a good niche to be in? And then, of course, always do just kind of a little competitor analysis on Amazon to say, hey, is there 50 sellers on this one product or this one niche? And then from there, be able to make an educated decision with that. So.
Yeah, that's a really good point. All right, well, let's dive in.
Yep.
What else do we have in terms
of? So the next thing is basically when it comes to diversification is also marketplace diversification. Of course, Amazon is always the leader. They're having the most growth. You have to play that Amazon, game of doing everything they need, and they're always going to be the leader. However, the game is changing, and there's a lot more different opportunities that are out there, and a lot of big companies making big investments to play ball against Amazon. And you want to be there to be on the upfront of those, the start of those waves. And when I kind of think about it is Amazon, I almost think of it as free money, is in a sense that you're leveraging somebody else's traffic, and you are able to get, for the time in which that is available to you. We want to use that cash flow as an opportunity to diversify and to really not just on Amazon, but to other marketplaces. And the nice part about it is that there's lots of different tools that can get you on a lot of different marketplaces quicker. And specifically, there's Walmart, there's eBay, there's Jet, there's Etsy, there's a whole handful of different marketplaces. And there's tools now that are very cheap that or cost effective that will easily allow you to get on those. Some of those are Listing Mirror, Ecom Dash, Skubana, of course, Channel Advisor, Celebrite. Those are just a handful of ones. But with some of these tools, you could be live on 3 to 5 marketplaces in a week or two, and starting as low as $69 a month. And then from there, as you get the sales and get things cranking, then you can work on getting more advanced tools and doing things better. But you have to be able to diversify. And for example, we had one customer that had a problem with their eBay, and that's 33% of their business last year. And I said, well, it's okay. It was during Black Friday time. They were down over Black Friday, but Walmart made up for it. And so that was something that is neat to see. Also with Walmart, they usually open up about over 100 new stores a year. And this year they made a conscious effort and alerted all of their stockholders that they basically are only going to open up 24 stores because they're focusing all online. So that's where it's going to start playing ball. And then also the neat part about it are tools that are really kind of leading the way and where to go and where the industry is going. So for example, ShipStation, you can integrate with 22 marketplaces with just your one basic ShipStation account. So with that, if you have a small product base, you can quickly add your products to those. And then from there, you can quickly pull all the orders in, and your fulfillment is all in the same location. So if you have one channel or 22 channels, it's all the same thing to you. Right. And then also, as you kind of walk before you run and go, there's also Channel Advisor where it integrates with 90, and they're the 90 marketplaces, and they're one of the leaders out there. So that's something that the space is really changing. The Ecom Dash of the world, Listing Mirror, those are tools that Skubana. They're really coming along the way and are really helping lead this challenge. And now it's not a situation where you say, I'm already going crazy, I can't expand anymore. Well, now you have the tools to make life simpler and to make it easier and to make inventory management accomplishable. And so that's the exciting part.
Well, and there's a couple of things along with that. The first is that, right now the stats, and they're trending every year, but 50% of product searches now start on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And that trend started back in 2012 when Google started charging to be listed in Google Shopping. Before it was free, you just put your feed in and Google, would be able to list your product. Well, they started charging, and that dropped off because the number of sellers selling their products on Google Shopping decreased. Then people saw the product selection was less, it wasn't consolidated. So even though Amazon gets 50% of the initial product searches, not everybody searches on Amazon. Yep. And not everybody buys on Amazon. And some people specifically, are against it or just have other preferences. And so you want to make sure that you're in front of them, those people as well. One, to just increase sales, but also two, like you said, to diversify.
Yeah. Really, the goal is to spread the risk. Is that if you're making investment in the products or marketing, side of things, or hiring people, it is your responsibility to be, to get as many sales channels as possible so that you can avoid the hiccups. The whole goal is that if you have an issue, you're not out of business or down 50%, you're down 10 or 20%. Right. And that's kind of the goal. And then the neat part about it is that, EDI. That's a way to integrate with some of the really big retailers like the Home Depots, the Wayfairs, the Target. That's become easier with Logic Broker and ShipStation integration, and so that's a very cost-effective, $500 to $1,000 investment where you're able to now all of a sudden start taking EDI orders and fulfill them easier. Also, the second-tier engines; those are the Housers, the Newegg, Rakuten, Grommet, Wish. There's a lot of these new ones that are coming out, and you're like, well, I really want to spend my time there. And the question is this a $50 or the $25 to $50,000, $100,000 little pop help you? And that's something that it's really neat how some of these are really kind of going to the next level. And Ace Hardware, they just bought the Grommet. That's going to be a new up and coming different marketplace and things of that nature. And then also there's flash sales. If you've got the product development down, this is something that there's lots of different sites that you could run a 1 or 2 day deal. and from there be able to get a nice good pop of, $50 to a couple $100,000. And that's something that you don't want to do it with your main product line all the time and all of that. But if you got the product schedule down, you could schedule these throughout the year and be able to kind of have a little pops here and there throughout the cash flow to be able to do that. So,
I mean, and I think some of the marketplaces that we set up, it was hiring people. There's people who do this that for a very low hourly rate, they know the marketplace. And as long as you have a consolidated spreadsheet or database for your product information, so product titles, features, descriptions, categories, and then UPC codes, map prices, MSRP, and photos.
Jumping the gun. We're going to go over that. So I got you. Don't get overwhelmed. We got
there's ways to make it cost effective in Google. When people feel overwhelmed and think I can't do it all myself, you shouldn't think that you're going to need to do it all yourself. So
exactly.
All right, well, let's move on for sure.
Yeah, we're going to give you the detailed map of how to accomplish that effectively and so on and so forth. So the next piece is e-commerce diversification, and everybody, this is something where when you look at your online strategy, marketplaces take care of other people's traffic. So that's something that's always good to do, but you're still not fully in control. You don't own the customer. You don't have the email address. You can't remarket. You can't send out an email blast, and you really can't grow that brand. And that's where, branding is always something that you want to kind of be working on and use this revenue that you're getting from marketplaces to help really build your own community, your own e-commerce environment. And that's something where you can build with Shopify, you can build a branded website where you don't have to worry about security. You don't have to worry about hosting. It's $29 a month. You can get some more, bells and whistles, but that's something where you can manage and be able to set up a branded website very cost effectively. Now you have to have a strong content strategy. I'm not going to say, hey, you set up a website and you're going to go make millions. That's not the case. You have to be able to willing to invest in that. But that's where you got to think about, you're getting this marketplace revenue. Be always investing into your own properties, so that then you can in creating value for your target audiences and to be able to do that. And the next thing,
along with that, I want to do a quick shout out. Can you mention, because you actually just did a post that lists some of the top Shopify plugins that you're one of the strengths that I see you continually have is your ability to keep track of not what's just happened in the past or be successful, but what's trending, and always on the lookout for new tools, always looking at what's upcoming. Mention that real quick, because I think that could be really helpful for people to say, I've got a basic Shopify site, but there's so many things you can do with it. I just want you to mention that blog post real quick on your website.
So with that, if you're not seeing a 20 to 60% increase year over year with your website, then there's something wrong. And by that, Shopify is a great tool. It's one of the fastest growing. It's over 400,000 stores using it, but it has some holes or some things that you need to kind of fill. And the neat part about it is there's a bunch of plugins, over like 2,000 or 3,000 plugin apps that you can install that basically help fill those gaps, that take care of the customer service issues, that take care of the upsell, the cross-sell, all the different things that greatly increase your sales. And so you don't want to just go set up a store, then send a bunch of traffic to it with no content or none of the upsell and cross-sell side of things. And so there's definitely we just launched it last month, but with that, it basically goes over the must-have plugins and also the cost justification for each. You don't want to go install a bunch of plugins and that never get the ROI. There's reasons for each one. There's the right and the wrong way of doing it. We've kind of mapped that out to be able to help you, with your e-commerce store and so on and so forth. So, but the whole goal is that you have to start building your own environment. And the reason why the marketplaces do well is they get lots of people wanting to put content on their website or products and so on and so forth. So that's where you need to start that as well. And you can't just go throw up an e-commerce site with no content and expect to do that. You have to add value to the conversation. You have to play the game Google wants you to play to be able to do that. And there's lots of opportunity with that. So, and then,
yeah, I was just going to mention on that side, one of the things that I think a lot of people think about, they think of it like Strengths Finder in terms of you invest in your strengths and not your weaknesses. Mm-hmm. And so I had a client last month say, Amazon is now doing 90% of our sales. Mm-hmm. And so the thought with that mentality is well, Amazon is our strength. Let's just invest more in Amazon. But that's really problematic because, like you said, one, it can get turned off at any time. But two, you've got to have that diversification to protect yourself and basically, for risk. But you can also increase your sales. It's not simply a throwaway investment. You will actually see an increase across the board when you do this and implement.
Absolutely. And we'll go over some of the marketing diversification next and some of the different things you do to increase your Amazon sales. But definitely, the whole goal here is that you want to create a good platform, a good foundation, and then grow it. And so that's kind of where, you want to get the marketplaces set up. You want to get that diversification there, but then you want to get your branded site going. And then also, if there is any opportunity, depending on your industry, and if you're selling, for example, t-shirts and grills or sports equipment and different things, sometimes it doesn't make sense to have one site. And that's where a non-branded site that is very keyword rich, that already has been built, that's been out there for many years, you can go buy a domain that ranks on page 2, 3, or 4, redesign it, and then all of a sudden be on page 1. And then from there, you have your branded site, which is going to start getting there. But you can buy a site or buy a domain, put a good website together with a great content strategy, and then be ranking and be the leader for the couple niches that you're in. And then you have your 3 to 5 site, e-commerce strategy. You have your 3 to 5 site, marketplace diversification. And then now, if you have an issue, you're losing 10% or 5% and not a lot more. And so that's kind of the goal, where you're spreading that risk and you're controlling your own fate and growing and using that cash to really be able to build your own marketplaces that you control, the email customers that you can remarket to, and all of those things.
And it's also a way to grow a brand faster. So one of the apparel companies I worked with over the last couple of years, they had a Southern apparel line, and so they bought a website specific to that. I mean, I think, for a minimal cost in terms of the return, it was incredibly cost effective. And like you said, now it's having multiple websites, Facebook channels, and all that stuff, but then finding a solution to integrate it so it doesn't feel like you're having to spread yourself too thin. Built out a full content strategy for that, but it allows you, it could take you months or years to rank for a certain keyword if it's just a subcategory on your site. But if it's a domain URL and the whole content strategy around that site is built there, and if it's specifically, if it was an existing domain previously and already has those backlinks in, you can buy a site that, even if it's been dormant for a while, you probably could, answer this better, 4 to 6 months period, start to ramp that up and see that accomplishable, SEO goal much faster than you would if you're just doing it on your own website.
Yeah, and we've had sites that are old sites that have been down for 3 to 5 years, and still within 3 to 6 months see that increase. But it has to have that age, and has to have the good keyword, the keyword structure in the domains. But the whole goal is that you now are being able to rank for things that your branded site can never accomplish, or not in a good time period. And that's where a 3 to 12 month strategy, you could have, 2 or 3 sites, ranking in a good number. And also with plugins, there's a store copy plugin from Rewind. They can literally copy your site and make another one, and then you change up your content and all the different details. All of the, Ecom Dash, Channel Advisor, Listing Mirror, you can use all of those tools to quickly be able to manage all your products in one place and be able to push them to multiple sites. So we're not talking about increasing workload, we're talking about increasing diversification. And of course, you got to have your content team doing things, which we'll go over here in a little bit, but that's kind of a quick summary. So
yeah, and the last thing on that is, if you have a website or whatever, that you have quite a diversity of products, or it encompasses a fairly large audience, with a more specific branded site, you're also going to get a higher conversion rate because it's much more specific. And it's like, you use MailChimp or something, and they say, hey, if you send a targeted email, you're going to get a much higher open rate and a much higher click-through rate than if you just send it to everybody. So when you do a product or a product line specific site, it allows you to rank faster. It allows you to get a better conversion rate typically, and higher engagement. And you can build an audience around it. You can create a Facebook page, Twitter account, Pinterest, Instagram, etc.
Yep. And it's the same thing with, with the different sites, you can do things that Amazon can't. So for example, with Chewy, their big thing is they create reoccurring orders. You can make one order for dog food and get it once a month for 5 years, or as long as your credit card expires. So that's kind of a situation where on your website with the plugins that Shopify provides, you can do things, provide the quantity discounts, provide the upsell, cross-sell that you can't do on Amazon. And you get the customer, you get to send email blasts and be able to directly target specifically the audience that they're wanting to target. So it's
a quick note on that. Amazon did just enable the option to set up subscribe and save for regular sellers on Seller Central. So we've just onboarded a handful of clients with that. I think it's going to depend on how many products they have enrolled. I know we buy diapers and dog food, so we use it every month, and you can adjust it. But basically, you enable it, you activate it, and then you upload your products, and it only takes 10 minutes or so.
Yep.
But it allows that subscribe and save to show up on your products in your Seller Central account that was previously only available to Vendor Central. So another huge opportunity. But again, of course, as Eric's mentioning, you want to diversify and put that on your own site as well. That way, the benefit and value is not just on Amazon. You say, hey, you can do the same thing from your own website without having to, manually keep track of all these.
Yeah, it's exciting, definitely. All right, so let's move on to the next one, which is basically marketing diversification. And this is the key to not just growing your marketplaces, but also your not just your own websites, but also your marketplaces as a whole. So the big thing, what we always start off with, is you got to kind of have a video, and it's a video that not just, you don't want to just upload a spreadsheet of tons and tons of products, but you really need to get people to help understand the why. That, oh my gosh, I've got to have this product video. And that's something where the neat part about it, and Shannon can provide some links with that, but there's some different tools that are out there for just a couple $100 to be able to get you that. You can even, depending on what products you have, you could just be doing that with an iPhone type scenario. But the goal is that when you get a video on your product sites, on your product pages, on your Amazon listings, you can really be able to increase sales. Some stats say as high as 33%, and that's the goal where you are you're going to use this for marketing, but you're also going to help increase conversion rates. And so that's just kind of the first thing that we love to, as you're going to use this throughout the marketing strategy that we're about to go over. So
well, and there's two resources that I can think of off the top of my head. The first is one of the ones that you're referring to is 30-second explainer videos. It's that great little 2D animation, and those you can get those started at a couple $100, and it's more to increase the time. But if you have a product that's sort of showing a different way of doing something, or a product that does something uniquely, that's a great place to start because the cost is so minimal. For other ones like AMZ product video, which is specific to Amazon, you can not only pay to have them create the video, and it's much more effective than several $1,000s, but they'll actually shoot live footage of your product, demonstrating it, unboxing, etc. And they'll actually put that video on Amazon on your detail page, which has the ability to kind of do that. But I think with the videos, you have the ability to use them anywhere. And so the video is just so big that in a world full of still images and product copy, video stands out because all you have to do is watch it play and sit back and just see all the features and benefits. And it definitely is a way to differentiate yourself in those marketplaces, including your own website.
Yeah, and I read, I heard a stat that said something about 80% of online traffic will be video in the next couple of years. And so that's something that is really, greatly increasing a lot with social, which we're about to go over here in a little bit, but there's just lots of opportunity there. So the next thing that we're just going to kind of skim through a couple of things here, but if you aren't already doing it, you got to have, specifically with marketplaces, you need to have your review management in place. There's Feedback Genius that basically makes that you're not just trying to get more reviews, but you're trying to stop the bad ones. And that's just kind of a real goal that you definitely have to have. When it comes to your ad strategy, Amazon provides the ability for you to put on sponsored listings. And that's a situation where we kind of look at it and saying, hey, you got to be able to take 10 to 20% of your marketing, of your revenue, and put it towards the product. And that's just a cost that you have to be able to work into your pricing. You might say, hey, that's not, I don't have the margins for that. Well, in today's world, you need to have the margins for that. And so basically, it could be a situation where where you just got to do that to get things going, to get over the hump. But everybody in the big budgets are doing that. So you have to be able to play that game. And the neat part about it is all the different marketplaces are doing something. There's a service called Credo that can get you ads on all the big marketplaces. Of course, eBay has theirs where you pay after the sale happens, which is great. Walmart's got theirs cranking. And it's a situation where it's not just AdWords that you need to do with Google Shopping and all of that, Google search and display and remarketing, but now there's the ad budgets that you got to have for Amazon, and you just take a piece of your revenue out and you put that towards it. But you got to get the products over the hump, and everybody's playing the ball. And once you can increase your sales and your organic, the reviews and all of that, it'll help everything as a whole. And so that's just a part that you kind of have to be doing.
Well, there's two points to that. The first is you have your regular Amazon campaigns. You have manual and automatic. Manual, you can really drill down and do specific bids, specific keywords for specific products. Automated allows you to show up as related sponsored items on other competitor listings, which is really important. So we always recommend running those side by side. I've got an article on Marketplace Seller Courses that talks about that. But the other thing, that if you have brand registry, which means if you own a brand, it's a registered trademark, you can get brand registry 2.0 if you don't already have it for Amazon. And that allows you to do what are called headline ads. And that's basically ads that show right up at the top. Again, it was previously available only to Vendor Central, but because it's limited now, because only people with brand registry and people who know about it, because a lot of people who have brand registry, they still don't even know about it and don't use it. And if you have a typical 15 to 20% ACoS, we've seen it down from 1.5 to 2.5 to like 5% for the headline ads, just because you have less competition, you can do lower bids, and it shows up right at the top. It'll show 3 products, and you can add content. So a huge opportunity if you're not doing headline ads and you have the brand with brand registry or registered trademark, you definitely want to jump on that, and also consider running automated campaigns along with your manual ones. And as Eric mentioned, people think of it, okay, if I'm selling $10,000 a month on Amazon, and I have a 20% ACoS, acquired cost of sale for my campaigns, you're like, okay, I'm giving away 20% of it. But you have to run the campaigns to, as Eric said, to prime the listings, to continue to get them traffic. And what that will do is, as you run sponsored campaigns to your listings, it will increase your organic search results and search ranking to help your products continue to grow organically. So even though your ACoS is 20%, your sponsored may only be 20 to 30% of your entire revenue. So there's 70% that you're not spending anything on. And so you have to spread that and consider it an investment on that end. So huge aspects to grow the business on that end.
Yep, definitely. Great. So the next part, and this is the part where the exciting stuff comes, and if everything we've said thus far is kind of like, yeah, I know that. Well, this is the part that's the secret sauce that you're going to get really excited about. So the big thing that will help your Amazon, as well as all of your marketplace listings, as well as your website, your organic sales, is influencer marketing. And with that, what do we mean by that? Basically, a lot of people have said, okay, hey, it takes 6 months to 2 years to get a product going, just because it just takes a while. Well, that's where the ads come in. That helps. We talked about all the diversification side of things we just talked about. But the big goal is that now there's tools like a Ninja Outreach, a Scrunch, a BuzzSumo, that you can go and find influencers, people that are talking about on Instagram, on YouTube, on their website, on their blogs, that are talking about the categories, the topics, or the target audience that you're trying to reach. And then from there, you can then, contact them, send them products to review, get a blog post, ask to do a guest blog, do an influencer roundtable. But the goal is, and this is where the key is that one, you've created your website now, so you can get a backlink from that blog to your website. That helps your organic volume. But the big key is you also have the video. And that's where you could say, hey, can you post this video on your on your social media, where then with a link to your Amazon listing? And that's where, when you can get a big influx of views and orders, that then from there, your organic rankings in the Google search, in the Amazon search engines, or in that Walmart or what have you, whatever marketplace that you're marketing, and then from there, it will greatly increase your sales. And the neat part about that is that that's where those featured bestsellers come in. That's where, where the great increase of sales comes from. It's not actually from something happens starting on Amazon. That's, ads, all that's going to help. But the big thing is that you can get influencers. That's kind of a win-win. They can even get their little referral fee from Amazon through the Amazon Associate Program. And from there, you don't have to pay for that marketing. That's something that Amazon does. And with that, the whole goal is that you find target audience of people that their audience will love your product, and these tools can help you do that. And then from there, it's that the videos get that much more views, and then the quick link to right there to your Amazon page to buy. And it's a perfect storm. And that's the goal is that throughout Black Friday, Cyber Week, you want to have contacted a whole bunch of influencers. And each day you're going to have on Monday of Black Friday week, you're going to have 2 or 3 go out. On Tuesday, you can have 2 or 3 go out. Some of these you might have to pay for. Some of these will be no problem. I'll do it for you. No, you don't even have to ask. They've already got it scheduled. But you got to have that really cool video. You got to have the links. You got to provide the resources so they can easily go and do that. You don't want to waste their time. But it's something that influencer outreach, the tools are there now. It's accomplishable. You can easily be contacting a couple hundred influencers a day with Ninja Outreach. You can have other people do it for you and different things. But that's the part that can get a product to be a top seller when you launch this much quicker. I mean, in a couple of days time frame. And there's a bunch of different opportunities with influencers and every niche that's out there. So
I want to mention a couple things on that. The first is Amazon's just adjusted their Amazon affiliate program and associate fees and stuff. But some people say, well, why would somebody just drive traffic to Amazon for an associate fee? Well, the first thing is they're going to provide an affiliate link to Amazon. They're already what's called an Amazon associate. That's Amazon's affiliate program. They're going to provide a link to Amazon to your product, but they don't just get credit for that product. They're going to get credit for every other product that the customer adds to their cart and checks out. And when I'm on Amazon, I rarely buy one thing. So I had one of the clients I was talking to, he did this and he just got credit for somebody. They added one of his products to their cart, but they also bought a $600 iPhone and he got credit for that. So there's a huge upside for affiliates because unlike your, driving traffic to your website, which you would pay the affiliate commission, Amazon's affiliate commission is less, but you have the bigger opportunity. So especially around the holidays, that's huge because people are like, they'll click an affiliate link and then check out all their Christmas presents. It's really big. The other thing that's important is you can also do giveaways, on the site, and then people, for people who don't win the giveaway, you're linking to Amazon. And the other thing that's really important that I want to mention is I've talked to sellers who talk about, well, in order to keep my ranking or get my ranking organically, I have to give away literally thousands of products a day. And for me, it's just the biggest no-brainer. There's no reason to give away product. You shouldn't ever be giving away unless it's a very initial launch, brand new product in a very, niche thing. But what you want to consider is you can do coupon codes in addition. So I have clients that say, I'm going to reach out to this affiliate. I'm going to give them a coupon code and for people to use that. And with that coupon code, I'll actually give that influencer an additional kickback in addition to what Amazon gives. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing that we've seen is you want a verified purchase review. If you're giving away product, you're not able to get verified purchase reviews, and verified purchase reviews highly outweigh non-verified purchase reviews. We found it to be 20%. So if you do a coupon code and you give a coupon code to an influencer, an affiliate, you want it to be 20% or less. If you go up to 20%, that customer review, when they click through and buy your product, even with that coupon code, it will still be a verified purchase if they give a review. If it's any more, if it's 30, 40, 50% off, that's not going to be a verified purchase. So recommend keeping that in mind, but it's a great way to do it. And like you said, all you got to do is reach out, provide the assets, provide the information. And a lot of these, people, Facebook, users, Facebook groups, they've got an audience and their goal is to provide content. Hey, what's new? What's hot? What's a great way to save you time or save you money? And if you're providing a product that fits in line with that, they are looking for those. In fact, we've experienced this, with one of the clients that we worked with last year where we didn't even ask them. They found the video, they put the whole thing together, they did the link to Amazon, and it blew up and took off because they were just looking for cool new products to show to their base, their audience base, and it happened to be an Amazon affiliate link.
Yep, and that's the goal is that, you know, there's people that actively do this, and for that one customer, you know, we calculated some of them got over $10,000 in that 24-hour time frame just due to the influencer link that they would have posted, that they posted. And so that's a situation where there's lots of mommy bloggers and different types of sites that have huge social audience that they don't even know this exists, but they know they love your product. And if you can reach out to them and say, hey, here's a product, can you write a review? Can you give me your feedback? Get their help, and then from there, they love to. And if you can, you know, link to them from your website or push their social link on your social, and from there, it just starts that ball rolling. And it might not be the first 1, 2, 3, or 4, but then all of a sudden, the more bigger ones kind of will see that, and they're just like, my gosh, this product again, and it really helps take off, you know, to get people to see it take off, you know, with the exposure and visibility with that. So it's definitely very exciting. Great. So the next part when it comes to marketing is also the content marketing. Now, we talked about all of the influencer marketing. That's where we, you know, really try to get people to want to want to push your videos and links to go towards social, to their social platforms. But with that, there's also the ability to do things on your website. So if you are the, you know, you're selling a certain product, you really want to become the leader and the thought that the person that adds value for that niche. And from there, you know, you can even outsource this to have people help write content for you. But with that, you know, this is something that the whole goal with your website is you got to provide value. You have to be able to greatly increase the reason of why people want to come to your site. You create the good content, and then you can also, it can even be, as we mentioned before, reviews, guest posts, you know, different things of that nature. But you really got to get the links, the backlinks to your website up. And so that basically you can even do competitor backlinks. There's a tool called Ahref, which will basically tell you that all of the links that your competitors have, and from there what the value of those are. You can go quickly, click on the link, see what it is, contact that person to see if they can, you know, add you to the list of top 10 things to do this, or whatever the article might be. But that's really the goal is that what we don't want to just have great pops of social pops. That's great, but you got to have the long-term growth, and that's where the content marketing really makes the difference. And so if you're able to blog once or twice a month, once or twice a week, whatever it might be, but the whole goal is that it has to happen. You don't want to just hope and say, hey, why are my sales down, or why am I not seeing that good growth? And the reason is you're not trying to get that, and your websites aren't doing great, and they won't be doing good, it won't be growing if you're not adding value to the conversation. Google used to say, hey, it's good if you have content. If you do, we'll help you out. Well, now they're saying that if you have thin content, you can actually be penalized. And so product content, that's technically duplicate content oftentimes. It could be on Amazon first. It could be somebody else's content. So that's where you have to add add additional content to your collection pages. You need to start blogging and getting content on there to help support your collection pages. You need to have good content on your homepage. And from there, then also providing good content on other people's sites that are basically good, relevant, linking back to you. And so, you know, it could be a situation, but there's companies you can look at, Ninja Outreach has a whole class on some of the different backlink analysis tools. But basically, you know, there's companies that have been out there that have basically written 80 guest posts on a bunch of different blogs, and then from there getting hundreds of thousands of people to the website just due to getting in the right places. They're doing the different podcasts, the webinars, all the different things. But the goal is that wherever people are, if there's an audience like you're doing with marketplaces, you got to do that with other places as well. Because people are, you know, looking for content. They're on Facebook, scrolling through things. They're looking to try to learn. And if you've got a product that answers that answers or fixes somebody's problem, then you can provide content around that too. And you're adding value that separates you separate from somebody else, or separate from an Amazon or a website, and go from there. So
let's drill into that, because that's so important. I don't want to pass that up. I want to go just to one next lower level. Mm-hmm. You mentioned, like, you can't just do this stuff. You have to have a strategy around it. So somebody could say, okay, well, I've got a part-time employee or an intern, and they're great at guest blogging and blogging and stuff, and they're just putting out content. but content for content's sake is not going to do much. Can you talk about two things that are really important if you're going to do a blog post? Specifically, I'm thinking in terms of SEO keyword research and then audience relevance. Can you talk about how those can be part of that strategy? Because if you just do blogs for blog's sake, that's all they're going to be, and maybe a couple people read them, but it's not going to be part of the long-term strategy. Can you drill down just to the next level on those two? Because I think it's
yeah, absolutely. That's a great point, because the big thing is that content for content's not going to do great, and really also blogs can actually hurt if it's not done effectively. It can hurt your website as a whole, because when you build a website, you're figuring out, you're doing the keyword research about what am I trying to get people to the site for? I have a collection that sells this product. I have, these 5 products in that collection, and all of it. And you basically build out your content map of where you want people to go to, because Google has to say, hey, do I rank your blog first or your collection first? You want them to go to your collection page. And you don't want to overlap. And that's the key is that you use your blogs to help go for something that you can't technically go for with your collection pages or your category pages with that on your website, or your product page. You want to send them to one product, you want to send them to a collection with a bunch of products. So that's where your content's got to be, very focused. So if you're starting somewhere, you're going to say, okay, hey, first I got to have good homepage content. And then you got to have good collection content or content on your category pages. And then you start blogging and you put together, hey, here's the content map of what I'm going for. I did the keyword research. I checked this one off. I got that one. I'm going for that. Check the next one off. I'm going for that. But then with that, then what's accomplishable? What are the lower hanging fruit? Then if I write a blog about, hey, 5 ways to do this, and each 5 or 5 of those little things, then from there you can start ranking for those and use your blogs to drive people back to your main collection pages. And that's kind of where content for content definitely is not going to work. And then from there, you have to be very intentional, not stuff. Don't get, old school SEO, bad, hardcore, keyword stuffing, but you really got to be very intentional with, hey, my goal for this blog is going to rank for these 3 things. So I'm not going to rank for that. I'm going to link to these things. And from there, you're providing value. You're getting good, real life. And don't be, it's got to be kind of have your own candor, your own personality, your own, it's got to be interesting, engaging. And from there, then with that, but when they're in the back of the copywriter, in the back of their head saying, hey, I want to rank for these 3 things. I'm going to provide traffic to these 3 products. And it can't be when you're doing a guest blog, some people are like, hey, can I just do 250 words or what does it need to be? Well, Google doesn't say this is what you have to have, but the goal is at least it's 450 words or more. And you're like, boy, that's a lot of words. But then there's studies say that, hey, sites that have over pages that have over, it was 11 to 1,400 words were ranking in the top 5 on Google. And the top first spot gets 33% of clicks. So that's a good place. You're trying to get to that place. So how do you do that effectively? And that's where basically you have to really do the keyword research. You got to be able to understand what are people looking for. You're not going to write a blog just to write a blog about it. You got to be, provide value, know what they're looking for. And then also, where is it going to be? What's their big problem? How are you going to help them? What's the value that you're providing? And then be able to really make content that you can skim, that you can really, people you got 7 seconds to get their attention, and you got to be able to keep them reading. And so you got to have the bolds, the H2s, the ability for them to quickly be able to skim
certain graphics or photos or that sort of thing.
Exactly, and also bullet points and all of those different things, so that you're engaging and people want to like you on Facebook. They want to keep getting that. They want to subscribe to your newsletter, and also to be able to to help accomplish those ranking goals, but not step on your toes of your collection pages, and all of that. So it's very important. Content strategies are great, but there's lots of ways of doing it wrong. Having a blog on blog.yourdomain.com, it basically doesn't. It actually hurt. It's starting from scratch. You want to have it on your main domain. So picking the right platform is very important. There's different tools out there that say, hey, no, it's fine. But really, Google thinks of those 2 domains differently. So you want to have it on the main one. Just different things of that nature. So there's lots of things that go through a content strategy. If you want to set up a time after this to be able to have any additional questions, I can go in more detail. But that's the part that separates, that gives you either downward growth now or upward growth is this content strategy. And that's really the goal, not just on your website, but also on marketplaces, and getting the enhanced brand content to be able to have lots of content with good value that helps people, that really, people are looking for that. They're not going to just buy, oh, this looks great. They have to know what's in it. They have to know where it is. And so you got to provide that value, and you on your website have to establish the credibility and the authority. And that's how you do it with great content. So
I think that, to give an example, an article, if you search Amazon SEO, there's an article by Nathan Grimm from DNA Response that he wrote, I think 4 or 5 years ago, something like 1,200 words, and it's still one of the top ranking articles. And it's because it's a significant amount of content. There's comments underneath, and it continues to maintain relevance, but it also continues to gain backlinks and so forth. So if you have really good, strong content, it can achieve that. If you have weak content, nobody's going to link to it. It's going to fall off, and eventually, like you said, potentially hurt you. So,
yep, absolutely.
What else?
So here's the last piece. So, this is where I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by what we've just talked about. In a sense that you're like, oh my gosh, I can barely handle what I got. Q4 is coming. This is just blowing my mind. Where do I start? How do I make this accomplishable? Okay. And so that's the key. So the fourth part is basically tools and team diversification. And so when we talk about these tools, diversifying into into multiple marketplaces, I'm not saying go and create all these 5 different accounts and let's just kind of, get a bunch of emails and try to start fulfilling them. That's not a scalable growth. And that's not something that, growing not effectively can hurt you. So that's where the tools are very important. As I mentioned, there's Listing Mirror, Ecom Dash. Those are 2 that are under $100 that basically can get you on those 5 big main marketplaces quickly. And there's some more advanced ones as well. Also, order management. You can't kill your support team. You got to make it so it's got to be able to link to it. But if you have a ShipStation or an order management system that allows you, Order Hive, there's a handful of others that allow you to integrate. They're doing 1 order or 5 marketplace. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing, Yeah. Also, customer service. You got to get a bunch of things going, and the customer service is where it happens. And so there's tools like Excelco that can basically allow you to get all your marketplaces and everything in one place, And then also, when it comes to team, this is something that problems are going to happen, okay? The more that you do, the more that things come on, there's going to be issues. And so you can't be the one person that does all of it. You can't be the only person that knows it all. You need to have a team of people that can help you. And that's where the neat part about today's world is you can go onto Indeed.com and you can post a job posting and get 200 to 500 people apply for it. And it's for free. That's a cost. That's a free. And they can do a contract type thing. And these are people that just specialize in different things. And so you can have, if you have a huge Amazon business, or even just a smaller Amazon business, you don't want to have a problem on Black Friday or a problem and not have somebody to go. And if you're in the weeds, cocktail with Amazon support, more than they do. That's just, you just missed all of Black Friday. So that's where you got to have your Amazon guy. Having a Shannon on retainer is something that, you don't have them for when you need them. You have them for when you have the problem. You know what I'm saying? And so that's something that, and also when for Walmart, you're going to have Walmart's customer service is not yet there yet, and so there's a bunch of hurdles. So you can go and get somebody that says, hey, I got an Amazon problem. You go, and then that person can go and do that. And they kind of handle that for them. They have experience to handle a couple of different customers in that. And then also when it comes to marketing, you can't hope to grow. That's something that, people are like, oh, I'll get to that content. I'll write these blogs, and it'll never happen, and that's where you want to have a team of copywriters that write this content 2 a week. That's your job. Post it here. They can go onto your site and post it for you, and it's like, well, hey, I didn't approve the content, but you're not growing if you didn't. Does that make sense? And so that's the key, that come back to it after they post it and skim it later. But the goal is that you're having that consistent growth. You're like, hey, I can't afford that. I don't have a budget. Well, these things, content starts at $20 to $30, $50 a page type scenario. And that's a situation where you can, invest and remarket into your business and to be able to grow that. You think, oh, hey, having, somebody for your marketplaces is too expensive. Well, if you're off on a big day and you didn't have that person to help fix it, you're going to wish you did. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where having that Amazon person, that marketplace person, so that then they can fix the problem and you can stay out of the weeds. I'll be the first person to say that I've been in that situation where I'm too far in the weeds and you can't see over the trees, and that's where, you need to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time, and having that team to be able to do that. As I mentioned, there's Indeed, there's Upwork, then also you can have agencies that do that, and you don't have to worry about the vetting or anything of that nature, and they specialize in these things and so on and so forth. So these are things that the whole goal is that you got to be able to weather storms, and you got to kind of conclude there's the product diversification. You got to have that. You don't want to just have one and get the category shut down, you're screwed. You don't want to have a problem where you have too much going on in one situation, or Amazon starts competing against you. You got to be diversified there. You want to be able to have the marketplace diversification too, so that then you're able to see growth in other areas and be able to invest ads in other areas, so that you don't have all your eggs in one basket. Of course, e-commerce is very important, so that you control the customer, you control the growth, and at the end of the day, you have something, and it's yours, and you don't have to worry about that. And that's a big goal. And you're providing content that sets you apart from all the other guys, and that's the important thing. And then also, the big thing is team. You don't want to go do all this without a good tool to be able to help you do orders and list products and all that. You're going to have problems. You're going to have customer service. You're going to have that. So having a good team, they could be all contractors. They could be, you don't have to hire a huge team, but, with that, you need to be prepared to be able to, complexities add complexity. But with that, you can't not afford to be diverse, so.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's a great wrap up. We were actually going to be doing a webinar with Excelco on their help desk tool in a few weeks here. Unbelievable. I can't speak highly of it enough. Just absolutely phenomenal. And next week, we're actually having Ken Greenlee from Upgraded Images to talk about product photography. You mentioned how important those videos and product images are. We'll be kicking that off next week. If there's no questions, I just want to give a final wrap up. If somebody wants to reach you, Eric, what's the best way for them to reach you? And I'll put this also in the follow-up email and the links, but what's the best way to reach out if they have?
You can shoot me. You can shoot me an email at ek@harnessingstrengths.com. That's ek@harnessingstrengths.com. That'll all be in the information, or you can call as well. My goal is not to overwhelm. If it's just kind of, you want to kind of break it down, or kind of, we can help give a growth strategy with that. We specialize in e-commerce, online marketing, but really just kind of an overall step back. Here's where you are. Here's your problems. Here's what we need to do to fix those. And here's the growth strategy. And so that's the goal. If you're not seeing the 20 to 60% growth, that there's lots of low-hanging fruit that you can do with smaller budgets, as well as bigger budgets, and from there to be able to accomplish the growth and diversification that you need. But always happy to help, just even answer questions. I'll be on Facebook monitoring this, and be able to answer any questions, as well as you should feel free to shoot me an email, and happy to help however possible.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and post a link as well for Marketplace Seller Courses. If you have not checked it out yet, it's a great resource. If you sell on Amazon, it's definitely a must-have, especially if you're a brand or manufacturer, to help you get everything in line with the Amazon policy, make sure everything's optimized, and making sure you're taking advantage of all the updates and rollouts. They are changing things every day, every week, I think. There's a new update, and so we have to go back and update the course, and we're constantly making those changes. But to make sure that you're taking advantage of everything allows you to stay ahead of the competition. And this is a great way to do that. So,
and I think the big thing, that even if you're an Amazon seller that you say, I've got my big pieces in place, to be able to stay up to date on the big things, be able to effectively launch a product, to be able to fix those 10, 15% of low-hanging fruit that have Amazon errors that aren't getting, live. That's where these courses can really help, and I can't stress it enough. And all of our clients, it's the first place we go is say, hey, you're on Amazon, you got to watch these courses, because you don't know what you don't know, and you can't afford to not. It's just not, so definitely.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And again, we're going to post recap. We'll have the video posted online on the website in a few days, and we'll also post that special guest blog that you did that takes all these topics and drills into them a little deeper. Again, you can follow us on Facebook at marketplacesellercourses.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Seller Courses, and YouTube as well, Marketplace Seller Courses, as well as sign up for our email list at marketplacesellercourses.com. So thanks, everyone, for joining us, and we hope to see you again next week.
Thank you. See you guys.